outside right now. Call to order. Regular Town Council meeting, August 11th, 2022. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Kinsinger is not here. Councilmember Dickinson?
Here.
Councilmember Hepperly?
Here.
Councilmember Schumacher, not here. Councilmember Packard?
Present.
Vice Mayor Hunt?
Here.
Mayor Polguda?
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. I'd like to invite Pastor Gabriel Gutierrez from Mountain Valley Church of God down in the front for our invocation. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council meetings, to let me pray. So let's pray. Padre, vengo delante de tu presencia. Te doy gracias por esta bendición que nos das de poder estar en este lugar, Señor, para adorarte y para darte la gloria a ti, Señor. Te damos gracias por este lugar, Señor, que tu presencia es en este lugar. Father, I pray in your name, and I ask you for this council meeting, you bless them, Lord. And I also pray for each family here, Lord, and or person who is in here, Lord. I bless them in your name, and I bless this beautiful town of Prescott Valley, Lord. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Thank you, sir. Everyone, will you please join us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which I stand, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 3, Proclamation, Summer of Giving, Casa for Kids Proclamation. Will you please come down?
Whereas over 265 foster youth reside in the Prescott Valley and surrounding areas, and whereas foster youth need support meeting basic needs to enrich childhood, and whereas over 3,000 abandoned or abused animals are residing in shelters in the Prescott Valley and surrounding area, waiting for forever homes, and whereas 134 homebound and isolated elderly in the Prescott Valley area are in need of transportation for life's most basic and essential needs, and whereas an increasing proportion of adults with intellectual and developmental disabled required individualized residential, vocational, and educational long-term care services to lead independent lives in perpetuity throughout the area. And whereas the City of Prescott Valley encourages its citizens and businesses to be a part of the solutions in overcoming obstacles in our community welfare by supporting organizations that help the vulnerable, overlooked, and underserved in Prescott Valley and our surrounding areas. And now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Kel Polguda, Mayor of the Town of Prescott Valley, do hereby proclaim support for Summer of Giving from July 12th through September 22nd, including the planned giving competition, which encourages businesses to raise awareness and critical funds for the most vulnerable in our community.
Do we have anyone here representing this organization? All right, well, let's give it a round of applause, though. We're just going to move right on to item 4, Staff Service Awards. Miss Caitlin, where are you at? I just saw. Come on down. 5 years with the clerk.
So, good evening, everyone. Mayor, council members, members of the public. So the employee that I'm about to present tonight completed her 5 years in June. And although it's August, we did not want to let this special occasion go by unnoticed. And here's why. So 5 years ago, Caitlin made the best decision to come work for the Town of Prescott Valley and leave banking. In fact, I met Caitlin when we both worked at the court. To break the ice, on her first day, I remember asking her to play ping pong with me. This led us to win the doubles tournament for the Not-So-Pro division against Casey Van Haren and Michelle. Just like in any other sport, it's always good to find someone you can connect with so well. In 3 short years, due to her knowledge, skill set, and aptitudes, Caitlin was promoted to deputy town clerk. She shows up to work every single day with a positive attitude and has a good demeanor at the window, greeting all the customers and co-workers that pass by. From day one, she has been a team player and checks the box on every single value from our new strategic plan: service, integrity, respect, teamwork, and fun. One outstanding thing to recognize is the help she provided in brainstorming and implementing our new business license platform from scratch. She has done an excellent job getting the platform up and running and is actively working on the transition of licenses to the platform. We have a lot of responsibilities in our department, and on a day-to-day basis, she gets pulled in a million different directions. Yet she always stays calm, positive, and simply knows what to do and does it graciously. I think this is a quality she learned from her parents. She's very caring of her community and is always looking for opportunities to volunteer along with her dad. Mom and Dad, you've done an amazing job raising her. I cannot thank her enough for all the support she gives her office. And I look forward to working with you for many more years.
Well, these 5 years sure did fly by, and I just have to say a huge thank you to Fatima, because she's been a blessing in my life in many ways, as a friend, as a boss, and as a mentor, just all around. The town is full of passionate people, and when you have an organization full of passionate people, great things happen. So I'm very grateful and blessed to be a part of it. Thank you.
There's a shout out to Mom and Dad right out there. You guys can wave, it's okay. Moving on, our next staff service award is for Boyd Robertson, engineer manager for 15 years with the Town of Prescott Valley. Sir, come on down.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. Boyd came to the Town of Prescott Valley already a significant knowledge of construction operations and the public facilities. He is well known through the local engineering and contracting community for his ability to seek successful project partnership, earn stage and design through the construction process. Boyd's best attributes is building relationships. Notable accomplishments in the last 15 years is that the town can see all of the new subdivision units and commercial development throughout the town. It's important to note that actually Boyd was the Grand Master for the Masonic Grand Lodge of Arizona from 2020 to 2021. Thank you, Boyd, for being a valuable member of the team, and thank many years to come.
Councilwoman?
Pardon me, I just put a lozenge in my mouth. Thank you so much for your service to our town. It's growing leaps and bounds, and we're so privileged to have individuals like yourself that are dedicated to working for our town. Thank you so much, and many, many more years ahead.
Councilwoman?
Thank you so much for your 15 years of service. We really appreciate everything that you do. I'm sure we could not even begin to know all the things that you do, but know that we appreciate them nonetheless. Thank you so much.
Vice Mayor?
Hey, Boyd, I'm so glad you're here at the town. I'm glad you're one of our team members, and I'm super excited that you moved over to the planning department because we desperately need that coordination that you bring with regard to traffic studies and reviews and all of that. So I think that was a great move. I know you're very excited about it, and so am I. So thank you very much, and you cannot retire anytime soon.
Councilman?
Okay, Boyd. Well, 15 years, good. Hope we can get 15 more out of you. No? 10? 5. Anyway, really, thank you for your service. It's good to have folks like you on our staff. You guys are all top notch. You appreciate your service. Thank you.
For those of you that don't know Boyd, he's like the silent ninja, where he goes around and he's always got a smile on his face. He's just happy to be at work. And as many of you can know, that sometimes in the workforce, there's people that don't want to be there. this is not one of those individuals. Nor am I saying there's any individuals here at the Town of Prescott Valley that don't want to be here. But this one for sure is definitely not one of those. So, Boyd, congratulations. You do an amazing job. So.
Thank you, everyone. I just want to say, I've been here in this area for 30 years now. Obviously, 15 of them here at the Town of Prescott Valley. First 9 I was here was at our neighboring community, and I went back over to the dark side into the private sector for a while, and then transitioned back to the public sector here. And I've really enjoyed my time here, but I have to tell you, I'm not going to work for another 15 years. I'm not working until I'm 75, I'm sorry. But thank you guys very much. It is a pleasure to work here. It's been a lot of fun watching the town grow, or like I said, the last 30 years, but especially being a part of it for the last 15.
Next up, we're on item 5. I'll call up ADEQ, Voluntary Environment Stewardship Program Award. Come on up, guys.
Where do you want me? Right here? Yeah. Good evening. I'm Morgan O'Connor. I'm the Community Liaison for the Arizona Department of Environmental Quality. And tonight, I'm presenting the Town of Prescott Valley with a Voluntary Environmental Stewardship Program recognition. This recognition identifies the hard work that it takes to run a public water system. I know that because I used to be regulated by ADEQ, and a lot of effort, a team effort, goes into following those rules. And my job is to get out into the community and say, hey, thank you. Thank you for your efforts. We appreciate all of your hard work. Keep it up. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you. Even on behalf of the Town of Prescott Valley, we've got a great team here, and it's easy to sit in the office like Scott and I do all the time and say, yeah, we do this all the time, no big deal. But, really it's the guys out in the field that make this happen, and we've got a great crew out there. We've got Jacobs, who has been under contract to the town for the last just about 30 years, that run our water system, and day in and day out, those guys are out there making sure that we are in compliance, getting the samples needed, getting them to the labs, making sure that everything, is up to snuff. And so I'd like to bring those guys up here as well and thank them also, because they're the guys that make this happen. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your efforts. Let's get a photo.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 5B, Chamber of Commerce new business presentation. Welcome, everyone.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. It's my honor to actually stand in for our member service manager, Katie Swan, who is currently off on maternity leave, having brought us a new chamber family member last Wednesday, a little baby girl, Phoebe. So anyway, I'm filling in for her for the next few times, but I'd like to do some business introductions. And my first introduction is Adam England.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having us here. Just quickly, my name is Adam England. My wife, Savannah, and I, we've been in business for about 3 years with Manzanita Insurance and Accounting. And recently, we had a fortuitous accident that allowed us to bring our business from Prescott back to Prescott Valley. We were both raised here, graduates of Bradshaw High School, Yavapai College. Yeah, go Bears. And it's the town where we continue to raise our children. And we're so thankful for you guys and everybody at the town who keeps this town amazing, that allows other people to find our little slice of paradise. So thank you.
And for those of you that don't know, Adam's also highly involved with the Children's Theater here as well. Is that correct, sir?
One of many hats I wear as the treasurer of the Prescott Valley Performing Arts and Children's Theater, the new Main Street Theater that's right over next to the Finlay Toyota Center.
So thanks for giving back there.
Thank you.
I want him to tell you where he's located.
We're on 8168 East Florentine.
All right, I'd like my next business introductions is Dylan Dunham and Jared Ransom.
Welcome.
Hi, Council, Mayor. We are AZ Pro Hardscapes. We are a new hardscaping/landscaping company in the town of Prescott Valley. We love the town here. I've lived here over 6 years now, and we're looking to give back towards our community more. Right now, we have a project going on with the Yavapai Humane Society for a memorial park that they're creating to build for an employee who has passed after 15 years of employment. We're looking to get more involved in our community, and we'd be happy to help out in any way we can. And, we're located at 6550 East 6th Street in Prescott Valley, right by Fane Park, across from Moose Lodge. And I'd like to thank you guys for everything you do for this community as well.
Awesome. Welcome. Thank you.
I'm Jared. I run the outside of the office, so Dylan will stick all the speaking.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you. Moving on, item 6, call the public. At this time, members of the public may comment on matters listed on the agenda or solely on matters within the jurisdiction of the town. Any persons wishing to address the council must complete a speaker card located inside the entrance of the council chambers and deliver it to the town clerk prior to the commencement of the meeting. The council's response is limited to responding to criticism, asking staff to review a matter commented upon, or asking that a matter be put on a future agenda. Such remarks shall be limited to 3 minutes unless additional time is granted by the mayor. Clerk?
At this time, I would like to call citizen Leanna Mason. Leanna? Sorry, Leanna.
Welcome, ma'am.
I apologize in advance. The material I'm reading is explicit. This is from an excerpt from Milk Fed by Melissa Broder. That night, with my breast bound, her with my hand, as I was licking her clit, my tongue flattened the way I knew she liked. I introduced the tip of my middle finger inside her. I didn't go deep inside, just below the clit, where I knew there was sensitive tissue. She gasped and moved against my finger, trying to push me deeper inside of her. Did that make you uncomfortable? Imagine being the unsuspecting 12 and 14-year-olds who walked into the library during the month of June and were bombarded with rainbow display recommended reading, tables throughout the library portraying illustrations of same-sex couples kissing, Milk Fed by Melissa Broder has a breast on the cover, and romance novels in the tween section set up like comic books, aka graphic novels, where the characters go into detail about their sexual experiences with pictures. An Instagram post from the Prescott Valley Public Library from April 7th, celebrating National Library Week, asked what books the community had read from the top 10 most challenged books of 2021. Lawn Boy by Jonathan and Vision was number 2. Here's an excerpt. Page 44. What if I told you I touched another guy's dick? I said. What if I told you I sucked it? I was 10 years old, but it's true. I put Doug Global's dick in my mouth. Page 73. All I could think about while he was chatting me up over the rim of his cappuccino was his little salamander between my 4th grade fingers, rapidly engorging with blood. I have another example. This Book is Gay by Juno Dawson. The back of the book reads, this candid, funny, and uncensored exploration of sexuality and what it's like to grow up LGBTQA+, also includes real stories from people across the gender across the gender and sexual spectrums, not to mention hilarious illustrations detailing the ins and outs of gay sex. Here's a review posted about it. A fantastic guide for teens on life in the LGBTQ+ community, with lots of helpful advice on how to come out, what to do about bullies, and even how gay sex works. It's all told in a very no-nonsense, comfortable, no-big-deal way, and repeatedly stresses that all identities and orientations are valid, which is wonderful. A great read for all teens, regardless of gender or sexuality. Everything I've read is straight from the books. There's explicit conversations, detailed accounts of children engaging in sexual activities, and illustrations. Under Law 13-3506, furnishing harmful items to minors is prohibited and against the law. I can guarantee you that I can find a book that will get the library sued, shut down, and people arrested for breaking the law. This is beyond celebrating pride and acknowledging other people's rights. This is purposeful grooming and endangerment. I'm asking that there be regulations on children's library cards and within the Yavapai Library Network. Every child within Humboldt Unified School District has access to these books because of the partnership between the schools and Yavapai Library Network.
Ma'am, we're going to ask you to, how much more do you have?
Just a sentence.
Let's read it.
Reading must only be checked out if there's parental consent on file.
Thank you.
Cherish innocence.
Thank you. Clerk, we have anyone else?
Diane Jordan.
Ms. Jordan, welcome. Welcome, ma'am.
Good evening, Council. As a library user and a member of the Friends organization, I want to support the library. I believe libraries are here for all members of the community, and it's parents' jobs to choose what their children read. All patrons have a right to read what they want to read, whether someone else agrees with it or not. They're responsible for their children not to check out that books. It's not the library's job to police children on what they check out. It's the parents' job. And books should be here for all people and all types, no matter what they believe in. They should have a right to read what they want to read, and not someone else should not tell them what they can and cannot read. That's a parent's job. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Clerk?
Mr. Tom Chase.
Welcome, sir.
Good afternoon. I want to thank all you guys for having the meeting that was over in the park by my house. By our house. I think we had a pretty good turnout as far as that. Got a lot of comments from my neighbors. They were pleased to see that you guys were there. Not too happy in talking to some of the people about maybe making some changes. Again, I've talked to you guys, and this is kind of what they were bringing up to me, so I'll review them. As far as the left-hand turn lane going into Sunset off of East Prescott Highway, they think that a roundabout would be better suited there. Again, with Jasper going in, that's hopefully, air quotes, is going to take the traffic off of East Prescott Highway, but with the connection with Sunset, that's going to make a lot more people coming down Sunset just because it being tied in to go to Fry's, to go to the entertainment center, the rest of the businesses and stuff that are over there, that it would be cheaper to make it now than it would be 5 years down the road when they do another study for it. Also, there was great concern about the trees in the left-hand turn lane, which I've said, but I also had some of my neighbors talking about that. Again, now that school started, we're getting a lot more traffic back on our street, more than what we had before, just because of parents taking their kids to and from school. But it's still the same thing. Dump truck all day today, going up and down. 18-wheeler yesterday. It's still going on. You know, I've been at this for 4 months. Yeah, the checks in the mail is what I hear all the time, but everybody's starting to get impatient about seeing something happen. I'll cut it short today.
Thank you, sir. Clerk, we have anything else?
No one else. No one else.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving on to council communications, item 7. Councilman Dickinson, would you like to lead us off?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. I just have one item to share with you. Not that we haven't been very busy this summer, but this afternoon we attended a wonderful groundbreaking for the Legato apartment complex, and we're excited to see it be built in the vicinity of Main Street across from the miniature golf course. This will be a 5-story complex with 3 new restaurants, something that we can definitely use in the area, and we're so grateful to have it here. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here. I want to start by congratulating the 2022 PVPD Youth Academy, and the title of their session was Believe in Something Better, and it included a 2-year certification in CPR and experiencing firearm simulation and team building. So we had several youth that graduated from this year's Youth Police Academy. So kudos to them. Also, Brenda and I had a chance to meet with Bunny from American Red Cross, and we were able to give her referrals to the Boys and Girls Club so that they could work with them on the pillowcase thing that they do, where students are taught to put all their important stuff in pillowcases if they have to leave the house quickly. Also, we referred them to our HOAs so that they could give information in the newsletters for all our HOAs around, and then also referred them to Park Collective for some programming. And you can reach Red Cross at redcross.org, and they have some really amazing apps. I personally downloaded the one that is about pet first aid. So you can go to your apps and type in American Red Cross, and there's like 6 of them on there, but they do have one for your pets. Nikki Indikovich, my co-chair of the Illegal Fentanyl Working Group, and I met with the school board on Tuesday, and we were able to give them this information, which is a curriculum that we gave to all of the principals this year a couple weeks ago. And it includes everything that MatForce offers and so much more. So we wanted to approach the teachers early this year so that they could do their programming, and they get deluged all year long for people wanting to come into their classroom and present something. And so they have this plenty early, and they can get information, and MatForce goes into the classrooms. So it was really great. The school board also heard an amazing presentation from their new personalized learning staffer. And if you have an opportunity, go to their website and check that out, because it is a pretty awesome event that are going to make our current school-age children and graduates more ready for the world. We had an amazing housing discussion on August 3rd with regard to workforce housing and attainable housing, and you're going to be hearing a lot more about that. We're going to set up a task force that will review all of the information available and make recommendation to council through a white report. So if you want any more information on that, please reach out to me. My husband and I went and wished the Wranglers off at 1:30 today. They're on their way to Henderson, Nevada. They're in what would be called the IFL Indoor Football League Super Bowl. So we are the West Coast champs. There's an East Coast champs. I'm pretty sure we're going to cream them on Saturday. You can watch it on YouTube, and please cheer our boys on. We are the proud adoptee parents of 3 boys from Minnesota on the team. April and I will have our talk show this Tuesday on KQNA at 4 p.m., so please tune in and listen to us. And thank you all again for being here.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman?
Oh, I forgot something.
Of course you did.
I'm so sorry. Hey, that was very nice. So I would like to introduce Rebecca Rifle Bacote. Did I say it right? So Rebecca is our brand new Parks, Arts, and Recreation Commissioner. We actually will approve it under the consent agenda. She is an awesome person. I'm really glad to have her come aboard, and she will be our second of the 7 commissioners on that commission for that have a specialty in culture. And so, welcome on board.
Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate you coming for this. Oh, apparently we're going back to Councilwoman Hepperly now.
I wasn't sure if she was going to talk about Fandomania or not. I wanted to give her a chance. So, okay. So, Saturday, this Saturday at the Findlay Toyota Center from 10 to 4 is Fandomania. Huge event. Everyone of all ages should come out and dress up. But even if you don't dress up, you should still come out. There's going to be, I think it's sold out with booths, all different kinds of vendors. The Matt Force booth is going to be there with the 1 or 2 superheroes, I hear, and also a coloring contest for all ages. But it's Prescott Valley's Comic-Con. And it's a really great event, and just want everyone to come on out. Thank you.
Councilwoman Hepperly, correct me if I'm wrong, you're dressing up. Is that correct?
I am dressing up, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. So if you want to know, you have to come out on Saturday.
Fair enough. Councilman, nothing. Moving on. Item 8, Manager's Report. Mr. Davison.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, my only report is we are moving to an online digital format for the council monthly report, which is a summation of various town activities. So we'll be sending out that link, and it's available to the public via the town's website. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to item 9, consent agenda. All matters listed under consent agenda are considered routine by the town council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately for discussion and possible action. Council, we've all had a chance to review. If we're not removing an item, then I will entertain a motion, please. Here's Vice Mayor has made a motion. Can I have a second? Clerk, please call the vote.
That passes, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving to item 10, new business. Zoning map change, ZMC 22-005, Clipper Courts. Consideration and possible action, first reading. Mr. Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. The zoning map change for Clipper Courts is the applicant is requesting a zoning map change from C2 PAD to R1M. This property is located off of State Route 69, Village Way. As you can see on the illustration, it's the area that's highlighted in black and slashed off only. The applicant is proposing to put up a 54-unit multi-family condo at that location. This property conforms with the general plan. We have actually had a neighborhood meeting. It was well attended. A couple of issues that came out of the meeting were that it wasn't going to be a 55-plus community or project, and of course traffic. Traffic was a big issue, came up. The applicant is doing a traffic report, and will be a TI done at the final development stage of this. And then actually, that's all I have. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Mr. Gonzalez, thank you. Last week, Mr. Cutter Chamberlain and I, we were actually down at the Villages. We had a community meeting. It was just in general to answer any questions that they have. It wasn't specific for this item. However, when we started to ask questions about any issues or concerns, we had approximately 60 people, I would say, at that meeting, and they all showed concern. They all showed questions, and they might not have been at that meeting or voiced it at that meeting, but some of their concerns were, as you mentioned, the 55 plus. A lot of them said that they love children. They just don't want to see them or hear them, is what they said, because that's why they moved to where they moved to. It was something of concerning matter to them, and it became a concerning matter to myself. So I'm just not sure on this whole item. That's all.
Sure.
Vice Mayor,
Mayor, if I may.
Oh, yes, sir.
One of the things that was addressed by the applicant at the commission meeting was that these units actually are going to be about 1,300 square feet. This is a rendition of what they're proposing to look like. And their price range is actually going to be pricing people that are not empty nesters or older people coming to this. They're in the $450,000 price range for 1,300 square foot condominium. People would be hard pressed to have families there, and the location, how small everything was. So there was a couple of other issues that came up with the 55 and plus. There was a bunch of hoops they'd have to jump through to get that designation. And like I said, more than not, the price of these condominiums are probably going to shy those folks away that have families.
Thank you, sir. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Fernando. Some of my questions may be for the applicant, but I'll voice them here. I, too, have concerns about changing this to commercial, especially the way the plan is designed. It kind of looks like row housing to me. I wasn't for sure what the street system looks like because ours was so small, and I see it here. I see it here now. I listened to the P&Z meeting, and they mentioned something about having to haul trash cans for a long distance. Do you know what that meant?
Yes, so we're going to have individual cans for each unit, and where it says track D on there, that's actually the staging area for the trash bins where the trash will be picked up. So they will have to bring them, if let's say you were in lot 51, all the way across where track E is, you'll have to bring that over all the way to track D.
Your trash can?
Your trash can. And that's
Okay.
what the concern was. Of course, that was part of
I
that
don't like
conversation.
that idea very much. So if I live on the other side in lots 1 through 12, do I have to haul it over there too with all the traffic?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, no, actually, there will going to be a separate pickup at track B.
So there's going to be like, what would that be?
So it's just going to be a row of just garbage cans on garbage day?
That's what
people
I'm
bring
thinking.
out?
There'll be dumpsters out, not rows. They'll be bringing them out. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
They're going to bring their can, correct? Is that what's
They're going to bring
happening?
their cans and bring them out in the staging area. The staging,
Can the applicant come up? Are they here for this?
Peter, I mean,
Mind if I get through mine?
I am so sorry.
That's
I didn't
okay.
mean to
No,
cut
that's
you
okay.
off on that.
So keep that in your noggin, Peter. Next, I have, how big are the 2 remnant commercial areas that are left?
those are actually, I want to say 3 acres and about 3 acres each, or 2.56 each.
So my concern is if we change all of this to commercial,
I'm sorry, my correction. It's going from commercial to single-family mixed use.
I understand, I'm sorry. So if we change all this to residential and we just leave some tiny remnants there, it's going to be difficult to develop those because there's no room, maybe a little, what do you call it, strip center, but strip centers don't come unless there's some sort of a bigger anchor there. So I have a concern there that we're doing that. I also would like to know, Peter, what's going in track D and track E. And to me, the landscape is very minimal. There's 10 foot along the roadways there. And in my opinion, there should be some more dense, that whole area should be dense. There shouldn't be missing trees along there. For one reason is the noise on 69, and I have a concern about that as well. What kind of sound protection are they going to do in these units? And then the second one is the dust and the dirt that can come from the roadways. So the landscape needs to be above our minimum standards there. And then I also have a concern, if you go back to the other map, it says that there's 10 units who have to back out on Village Way. And when we were looking at the project to the north of here, a lot of those existing residents complained about how dangerous it was to back out onto Village Way. And particularly lot 12 is right there on the corner of 2 what are going to be fairly high traveled roads. So I'd like that to be looked at in the final plan. And then I just have a concern about the density. It's only about 7 units per acre, but there is a lot on here that is as small as, I think it said 3,618 square feet. And if the house is 1,354 and the garage is about 300, that's well over about 50% coverage. And my point there is that if there's no amenities and there's going to be kids in here and there's not very much of a lot, I have a concern about that. I know there was a dog park mentioned at the P&Z meeting, but it is an amenity. That's not the level of amenity I'm looking for. There was also a reference about managed by the HOA. I didn't know if there was going to be some coordination with the existing HOA, if there was going to be a new HOA, so that's also one of my questions.
Well, we'll see if we can get Peter up here to address some of these.
Mr. Bourgois, welcome, sir.
I have a couple of questions also.
Let's just wait for Peter to answer the vice mayor so we don't get too far ahead.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, I'm Peter Bourgois.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
You're fine,
We're
sir.
working out new technology.
That's okay. I'm the landscape architect and planner on the project, really, so any questions about engineering or the market or the bigger traffic questions, I'm not really in a position to answer those. But to address a couple of the things, the garbage question, they are individual garbage cans on wheels that we all have at our houses. They would be wheeled down to, they don't go all the way across the site. They come down to the main road. Let's take, for example, that driveway that goes into lots 34 and 35. That's an access court driveway to the garages and to the homes. They would come down to Village Way. So you wheel down to Village Way, and that's where the garbage truck would pick them up. They don't wheel them all the way down to Track D or Track B. They go to the front of their driveway for the most part. So there's a little bit of rolling, no question about it.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, Peter.
Go ahead.
I think I have an issue with that as well because I think, that's going to be their private driveway, right?
I'm sorry?
That's their private driveway?
Yes,
They go in and
it is a
out?
private driveway.
Okay.
Or private road.
Okay. So So the trash trucks are going to go into the private driveways?
No.
And pick them up there at the end of the alleys?
No, the trash truck would, the refuse truck, trash truck would stay on Village Way.
Yeah, so I have a problem with that too, because Village Way is going to be busy and that trash truck's going to be making a bunch of stops to do that all day, during trash pickup. And that's where the landscaping is, so is there going to be a slab so that it's not impacting the apron of that tiny alleyway, I guess? You know what I mean?
Yes, maybe. As you can see on this plan, the trees are shown, the shrubs are not shown because it's such a large-scale plan or small-scale plan. Those triangles, the visibility triangles, so there will be landscaping down on those as far as height of the landscaping, keeping it low so that there's no impairment of people coming out of the driveways. The trees themselves clustered, we can certainly adjust that. We can certainly, beef it up as need be. Like I say, the shrubs are not shown. There's a pathway that goes around the entire development. You can see it there on the north side. It goes along that drainage way that's kind of the buffer between the villages and this development. The other tracks that would really off to the sheet on the left-hand side that don't show on this sheet, those tracks will likely be not only drainage, but open space, recreation, dog park, walking, that type of thing.
Councilman?
So, pardon me, along with the landscaping, I'm assuming that we have retaining walls?
There are some walls, existing privacy walls on the site, back on the, I'll call it the northwest corner, or the back of the northwest area that exist already. There's one there, and I don't know if that's what you're referring to, retaining walls, but.
Basically sound barriers, you know.
Oh, yeah, there is a wall. There's an existing wall, like I say, up along lot 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. That wall will stay. We may actually even adjust a portion of that on lots 9, 10, 11, and 12. And that's actually it's not on the property line, it's on the actual property that's being developed, and it won't change. So there's that privacy wall. There'll be a privacy wall along all the lots from lots 13 through 26, back that way. And when you see lots 27, as we go across to the east or to the south, lots 51, each one of the homes will have its own privacy wall too. So it's not just open to that north side. Let's see, those aren't retaining walls, but they are privacy walls.
And the height of these walls, are they varied, or are they all basically the same height?
They'd be a 6 foot.
6 foot walls?
Yeah, privacy wall.
Are these like patio homes that we're talking about here?
I'm not sure what the exact definition of a patio home would be, but I guess you could call them a patio home. They're in pairs. They're two homes. That's 2 homes we're looking at now, a common wall in the center. Heights are about the same as, well, the 16, 18 feet to those ridge lines. Let's see, what else? The size of the lots pretty much matches the size of the lots that are back in the villages, back in that area. So pretty comparable in square footage for the lots. Density is about the same.
Thank you.
So I'm not sure if that answers the question, but.
I have a question for legal. It feels like we're looking at a final development plan here, not a zoning map change. And I want to know how often. I mean, I don't remember, and granted, it's not like I've been here for 20 years, but it just feels like we're doing things out of order, and this isn't, I feel like we're putting the cart before the horse on this by approving a final development plan when we haven't even voted on a zoning map change. Right?
We're not voting on a final development plan.
But it seems like that's all we're talking about, though.
Well, that's all we're talking about. But obviously, the issue really is the rezoning. And you're free to talk about any aspect of the project that you wish, but the issue is the rezoning. By the way, I should note, I understand there's a new council person who has signed in, so we need to recognize her as being here.
Okay. Clerk, you want to advise?
Councilmember Schumacher has joined the meeting and she's connected. She would like to vote on this item.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I have one more comment, Peter.
Well, I'm glad that clarification. You asked that question. It is a zoning map change. It's not the final development plan. So.
Right, but the problem is we don't get to see it till the final map comes before us. And I think my issue is if we approve a change of zone and it feels like there needs to be some major changes to the site plan, will that impact the change of zone and the density and what have you? Is there a way to move this back? I have one more question on the site plan. So, Peter, what is that by lot 13 where it says track? There's like a box there. That's not a trash enclosure, is it? On top of the word track?
The kind of rectangular thing that you see there. There's an old, I'm not sure if it's an old foundation or an old wall that is in there. It's an existing feature that's in the landscape. Go ahead.
If I may, Mayor, Vice Mayor, that happens to be an existing sign where the old villages used to advertise. It's not going away, it's just staying there. And to your point, Mayor, yes, this is actually a zoning map change. However, we're talking about the use as proposed as part of that zoning map change. And we actually could move forward with the zoning map change with stipulations in regards to adding density, square footage, and we will be bringing a final development plan for your approval or disapproval in the future if this moves forward favorably with the zoning map change.
Vice Mayor?
Mr. Mayor, I think I would like to see some of these changes before we act on a change of zone. I know the Planning and Zoning Commission sent the site plan because they had issues back to staff. I would like to keep the change of zone and the site plan together and move the change of zone back to staff as well, so it goes back through the Planning Commission. That would be my recommendation if it were time to make a recommendation.
Well, why don't we do that? Vice Mayor, why don't you stick with the motion to send this whole project back to Planning and Zoning?
So, Mr. Mayor, my recommendation is to...
Mr. Mayor, we closed the public hearing.
I'm sorry, I never even opened the public hearing.
Right, we need to open the public hearing and make sure that we've done that.
Is there anyone here that would like to comment on this item? Open, close.
So, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we send this change of zone back to staff to be packaged with the site plan with some recognition made to the comments from the Planning and Zoning meeting and those made tonight, and that we expeditiously get it back through Planning and Zoning and back up to council. That's my motion.
Can I have a second on that, please? Looks like we have one, clerk.
Mr. Mayor, that passes.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving on to item 10B, FDP 22-006. I'm sorry, clerk, was there anything we needed to add to that? Okay. Item 10B, FDP 22-006, Big Sky Tire, consideration and possible action. Mr. Gonzalez.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, this is a final development plan for Big Sky Business Park Tire Shop. The project is located off of Valley Road, right in front of the U Pickett dismantling shop. This is actually a complement to that business. They'll be wanting to develop a 49-plus 100-square-foot building at that location. This is consistent with the general plan. The zoning is in place for this. They did do a traffic study. The traffic study found that the only thing needed was a stop sign for this project. We do have all the site development standards will be part of the building process and in place. Staff at this point is recommending the council consider approving the final development plan, FDP 22-006. I'd be happy to answer any questions you would have at this time.
Council, I'm having some technical difficulties seeing if you're wishing to speak on this item, so we're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. Any comments for Mr. Gonzalez? If not, I'll entertain a motion. Vice Mayor made a motion. Can I have a second, please? Vice Mayor, you going to read the motion?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'd like to make a motion to sign resolution number 2022-2264, adopting final development plan FDP 22-006 by electronic vote.
And we have a second from Councilwoman Dickinson. Clerk, please call the vote.
That passes, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving on to item 10C, final development plan, FDP 22-009, Baja Apartments, consideration and possible action. I will be recusing myself from this vote for personal and professional reasons. Vice Mayor will be handling it from here.
And I will also be recusing myself from this vote for personal and professional reasons.
So we are on item C, which is a final development plan, FDP 22-009, Baja Apartments, consideration and possible authorization. Fernando.
Hi, this is Kendall.
Sorry. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Welcome, Councilwoman Schumacher.
And it is saying, am I not on the?
Yes, Councilmember Schumacher? Can you hear us, Councilmember Schumacher?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
Vote yea.
We're having a staff report. Go ahead, Fernando.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, Council. This is FDP 22-009 for Baja Apartments. This project is located on Addis and Addis Circle. We've seen this project before. Originally, it was approved for 158 units. Then it was down to 144. We're at 140 this time around. What's happened, the notable change on this is they've reduced the density and they've added amenities, the clubhouse, the pool, and other areas. This is the landscaping plan. This project did do a traffic study on its original approval. No changes were made. A stop sign will be required. Off-site improvements will be also. It is concurrent to our general plan. Staff is actually recommending approval of this project or the final development plan, and would be happy to answer any questions you would have.
Do we have any questions for staff? Councilwoman Schumacher, do you have any questions for staff?
I do not have any questions at this time.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. We have brand new technology here, so.
Shall I go ahead and make the motion?
Why don't you make a motion?
Okay. I make a motion to authorize the mayor, or in his absence, the vice mayor, to sign resolution number 2022-2262, approving final development plan 22-009 for the Baja Apartments by electronic vote.
Thank you, Councilwoman Dickinson. Can I have a second? Can you do it verbally, sir, please?
I'll second. I don't have it on my screen here.
Me either.
Second by Councilmember Packard, and in this case, the vice mayor will be signing the resolution. All in favor? Or let's get that screen if we can. Fatima? Thank you. A vote, please.
That's me.
That passes, Mayor. Vice Mayor.
Do you need to get Councilwoman Schumacher?
She voted electronically.
Oh, cool. I didn't know we could do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item 10D, Crown Point Apartments Final Development Plan, FDP 22-010, consideration of possible action. Mr. Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. This final development plan is for Crown Point Apartments. This project is located on Crown Point Drive and Market Street. The applicant is actually requesting project approval for 84 units, apartments. The units, actually, the project is consistent with the general plan. There has been a traffic study done for this. Traffic study found that there's a number of cars are being parked along Market Street. From the apartments, they'll be required to put no parking signs along that to alleviate that and help with the congestion of the traffic on that site. Again, it's zoned properly, 84 units. We have a landscaping plan. All the site development standards will be required and expected at time of submittal of permits. Staff is recommending approval of this final development plan and would be happy to answer any questions you would have at this time.
Vice Mayor?
So I have a couple questions. During the preliminary plan, I had some comments, and I don't know that they were addressed here. So I guess I'm asking. My first comment was, I have a concern with the parcel to the south standing alone and want to make sure that it's parked sufficiently for the units that are there, because even though it says that it's a part of the bigger project, it can be sold on its own. So I don't know if that happened.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, yes, we did a calculation on the parking on that parcel, and it does stand alone,
Okay, great, including the clubhouse.
including the clubhouse, yes.
Okay, and then there's nothing to the south right now, but if something comes in, is there going to be a wall on that south border? Do you know? Or can we require one?
We can stipulate that they have one. I'm looking at Ivan to make sure that we can make that stipulation.
Certainly, you would have to add it to the resolution, but yes, that could be done.
I just think something needs to be there. It doesn't have to be huge, and it can have, I'd like to have some kind of openings in it with wrought iron or something so that it's not.
A view wall.
Okay. And then, there's only one ingress and egress, right, on each of these?
Actually, Crown Point or Market Street is actually a private street, and they will be, oh, I'm sorry, let me go back. So Crown Point Drive actually is the private road, and they'll have access to that. That is the only ingress, egress. It's on a slope. You'll see where C2 is down there. It falls off pretty drastic, so there's no way to get any in and out, and there will be no access off of Market Street.
I'm actually talking about the parcel. Can you go back to the site plan? So the parcel to the north only has one entrance and exit.
That is correct.
Okay.
There's a slope change between the apartment, or actually the hotel, and that parcel.
So there's no interconnection for emergency purposes through the parcel in the middle?
Unfortunately, there's not.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else for Mr. Gonzalez? Clerk, is Councilwoman Schumacher still on the line?
She's not on the line, but she's connected, so she can still vote. Do
Okay.
you want us to get her on the line?
No. If she has a question,
Yeah,
she can
she'll
call
let
in
us
then.
know.
That has that option. All right. Council, if there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, the applicant says he can respond to some of your questions.
Come on up, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. My name is Albert Schillinger. I'm the developer for this project. On two things. One, to be a little more specific, the parcel to the south is the one with the clubhouse. That has two exits. One is connected to the hotel. It's not shown as clearly. There's unfortunately, some lines right there looking like there's parking spaces. That will actually be an entrance, and an access easement will be provided from the existing hotel. That was to meet the fire requirements because the 150-foot turnaround was not met.
So can we condition, I'd like to add that as a condition, or whoever's making the motion, can you add that as a condition? The reciprocal easement here?
As we are the owners of the hotel and the land, so the easement, well, it will be required for the final plans to be approved, and has already been required both by engineering and planning.
Oh, they have. Okay, so it's already in the conditions.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, my plan won't be approved until that easement has been recorded. Perfect. And then in regards to the fence, can you be a little more specific which southern portion you're referring to?
The smaller parcel just along that line, is that possible? Something there?
So there's an existing batting cage there that operates. So I could maybe speak to him, but I'm not sure what the intention of the wrought iron fence would provide on that southern side, as we are sharing an access with that batting cage.
Oh, you are? So that's not shown on here?
You can sort of see the curb cut that is provided on that, but there's an existing, I'm not sure the size, but it's a larger than normal driveway access that was provided originally that we are using. So we are meeting the driveway aisle requirements, and then they have another one. I believe we have our 24 feet, and then they have the additional area type
Thanks
of
for
thing.
the clarification.
No problem.
So then we don't need landscaping or a wall there.
No, I do not
Okay.
believe so.
Thank you.
It appears we have a motion from Councilwoman Hepperly.
I make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign resolution number 2022-2263, approving final development plan FDP 22-010 for the Crown Point Apartments by electronic vote.
Can I have a second? Councilman Dickinson, clerk, please read the vote, or please call the vote.
That passes, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving on, item 10E, amended bungalows on Village Way Development Agreement, consideration and possible action. Mr. Wadsworth, welcome, sir.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is an amended development agreement. You saw the original one back in December of 2021, and the intent of this amended agreement is to allow the developer who is going to be installing a lift station and force main from Highway 169 area up to our existing Quailwood lift station, to allow them to build the force main using high-density polyethylene pipe in lieu of ductile iron pipe, which is what we normally require. Staff is in favor of this change. It'll do two things. One, it'll keep the project moving forward quickly. Ductile iron is very difficult to get at this time. It'll also dramatically reduce the costs. And so in support of making this change, the developer is agreeing to a greater cost share of those force mains. So the town was originally going to pay for about 86% of those force mains. Now we're only going to pay for 75%. Overall, we're expecting a reduction on the town side of the cost of somewhere around $1 million. And so we're in support of this, but bringing it to you to see if you're in favor of making this change in the development agreement.
Council, have any questions for Mr. Wadsworth?
I do.
Councilwoman Hepperly?
Do you have precedent, other cities or towns that have used this material?
Well, we've actually used high-density polyethylene. In fact, if you see construction sites out there, the black pipe that they're dragging around everywhere, using it for temporary water, that is that type of pipe. It's very robust. It's all fused together, so they fuse it together. There are no joints. So using it for a force main where you're pumping sewage is a good application of it. The other place where the town has used it, we have 16-inch high-density polyethylene in our recharge facility. So going out into the North Plains ponds out there, that was installed back in 2012, and we have not had any issues with it. So we're very comfortable in this application allowing this.
Okay, so the ones that you've already used are in the ground to where they've experienced the clay, the expanding of clay and everything, and they don't have a
Yes,
problem
and the
with that.
high-density polyethylene is very thick-walled pipe. So normally with a PVC pipe, you're looking at a thickness that might be, maybe an eighth or 3/8 thick, somewhere in there. This stuff is about a half an inch thick. That's why they're able to do things like drag it across the ground and stuff. But it's very, very good pipe, and for this application, we agree that this is a good application for it.
Okay, thank you.
Council, we have anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion. We have a motion from the Vice Mayor.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the mayor in his absence, the vice mayor, to sign resolution number 2022-2268, adopting an amendment and restated development agreement with the Kavanaugh Opportunity Fund, SPE LLC, and bungalows on Village Way by electronic vote.
Can I have a second? Council, can I remind you to wait for the motion to be read, please? Clerk, please call the vote.
That passes, Mayor.
Thank you. Moving on to item 10F, Yabaline Regional Transit System Agency Safety Plan. Mr. Rodriguez, welcome, sir.
Hey, good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council. I'm here before you today for the approval of transit policies and contract amendment. First off, as we prepare our reimbursement application with the Federal Transit Administration, a requirement to complete an agency safety plan is necessary. The agency safety plan establishes safety performance targets, risk mitigation, and it creates a safety management policy. So town staff recommends approving of resolution number 2022-2270, adopting the Yabaline Regional Transit System Agency Safety Plan Agenda, item 10F. Any questions?
Doesn't appear we have any questions on this item, sir.
All right.
Council, can I get a motion, please? Councilman Dickinson made a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to authorize the mayor, or in his absence, the vice mayor, to sign resolution number 2022-2270, adopting the Yabaline Regional Transit System Agency Safety Plan by electronic vote.
Can I have a second? Vice Mayor, a second. Clerk, please call the vote.
That passes, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving on. Yabaline, item 10G, Transit System Title 6 Program, consideration and possible action. Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of the council. The same applies to the Civil Rights Program Title VI Plan. It's a requirement by the Federal Transit Administration, and it's tailored to our town's needs. As a recipient of federal transit funding, the Yabaline Regional Transit System will comply with the Title VI of the Civil Rights of 1964, and it will include complaint procedures, complaint forms, procedures for logging, Title VI investigations, complaints and lawsuits, as well as public participation plans and service policies. The town staff recommends approving resolution number 2022-2269 to adopt the Yabaline Regional Transit System Title VI Program Agenda, item 10G.
Council, any questions? Doesn't appear as if we have anything for this as well. You're just full of excitement tonight, Mr. Rodriguez. I'll entertain a motion. Vice Mayor made a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign resolution number 2022-2269, adopting the Yabaline Regional Transit System Title IV program by electronic vote.
I have a second from...
Correction, it's Title VI.
Title VI program by electronic vote.
Seconded by Councilman Packard. Clerk, please call the vote.
That passes, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 10H, Amendment Transit Operation Agreement, New Horizons, consideration and possible action. Mr. Rodriguez, last one.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council. So third I have for you is that town staff requests a contract amendment be made with New Horizons for contract T510.2 for microtransit operations and oversight. And for the purposes of, one, increasing New Horizons' overall insurance amount from $5 to $10 million, per the recommendation of Arizona Municipal Risk Retention Pool, the AMRRP, to assist the town in the event of an injury or accident to patrons. Point two is to provide the town and New Horizons time to efficiently phase in taxi livery companies within 6 to 8 months. And then third is to hold Saturday service for the time being and phasing it in 6 to 8 months from now. The town staff recommends approval of the proposed amendment to contract T510.2 with New Horizons in the amount of $129,298, agenda item 10H.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. And we, I believe, talked in depth on this last week.
Yes.
Correct.
I just want for the record to show that the $129,298 is a credit.
So the 129,000 is it will be funding for the increased amount insurance threshold from 5 to 10 million. That's a big piece. And then the other piece is, in this case, we're providing the money up front, and it will be paid to New Horizons as we provide trips. So if trips are provided or excuse me, I'm sorry, that's for the taxi livery piece. For New Horizons, that's the hourly, that's the revenue hour service for that 6 to 8 months.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Previously, it was going to be on the back end. As we provided service or trips, that we would be paying the taxi livery company. So this is upfront.
Council, we have any other questions for Mr. Rodriguez? I'll entertain a motion. Vice Mayor made a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve an amendment to contract T510.2 with New Horizons Disability Empowerment Center for microtransit operations and oversight of taxi livery companies by electronic vote.
Can I have a second, please? Councilwoman Dickinson seconded. Clerk, please call the vote.
That passes, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Moving on, item 10I, construction of cost escalation. Mr. Davis is for discussion only.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. I did want to have a discussion with you tonight about what we've been experiencing. I think we're all well aware when we read the newspaper of the current construction cost. They've been very volatile over the last year. We're seeing costs increase in as much as 70 and 100% in the construction industry. We hear a lot in housing, wood's way up. We've heard in the last couple of weeks, contractors only get 10 yards of concrete. It's hard to do work with that. It's really caused a lot of frustration in the contract community, equally for, let's call it owners like us, to actually offer public bids. It's been very frustrating. So we've heard about the supply chain issues in addition to labor shortages. It's really been a very volatile market out there, and we've had a double of a time with the bids that we've been receiving for our public projects to actually deliver service to our residents of public works construction. We're seeing our budget estimates that with our public budget have to be 6 months to a year old when we turn in the budget to get it approved by the public. They're a year old, and they're only about, in some cases, half, 60% of what the bids are coming in at. And I just wanted to show council this little quick chart we put in. Some of these projects that we've been working on, look at the monument sign project. That's one we came to council in March. We've been working on it for 10 years, getting the approvals. We're ready to go. We've got a great concept. And lo and behold, we sent it out. Public purchase goes worldwide. It really does. We call local contract, hey, we've got this exciting project, and we get one bid. And you can see up there where it's at, doggone, twice what we anticipated with good unit items. So that's what we experienced July 11th. So we said, well, what can we do? Well, we wanted to really move hard on our manhole raising project. That's a very, important project to us. We get done with our slurry project. We want to raise those manhole lids, which has been frustrating the public. As you can see, that's really, you take our current Florentine project, we're spending $800 to raise a manhole lid. Project's cost came in about $1,600. This is substantial at 200 manholes. You can see we only got one bid. Called our contracting partners ahead of time. They said, we just can't bid on this. So where we're left with is some of these other particular projects is, the contract communities are partners. They do have hard costs. They always appreciate the competition that shows our public, we got good competition, good bids, or, bid specs and plans put together. But when they, when we have to make the recommendation, we don't have the budget money, we want them to, rob from another project to fund it. They have hardline costs, and it's frustrating for them because they say, look, if you're not going to award it, do we spend the time to take the next bid when you guys in your public budgets aren't even close? So I want to have a discussion with tonight. I've had long discussions with town manager about the frustrations we're having, all of us, the contract community, us as the particular agency owner, in addition to the engineering community of, hey, they're using what the best items and numbers we had for comparative unit prices a year ago. They're just not any close. Let's talk about where some we want to go with maybe some of these projects. The Prescott East Mill and Fill, we've talked with council about we're the 25% partner with the county on this job. They bid that this past Sunday. As you see in the chart here of it is out for bid. It'll close September 8th. But you can see the IGA that we approved here 6 months ago. Our contribution by our unit items is about $900,000. And you can see the total project estimate is about $3.5 million. They've done a current estimate, best they can think, about 30% more than what these items are. You can see the next step will be $1.1 million is our contribution. Our public budget doesn't have that much. So I want to have some discussion tonight about what our recommendations are of staff And obviously, we want to push hard. We want to continue to send projects out to the contract community, but we do like to make sure we discuss with you what we think is the best recommendation from staff. Backing up a little at the monument sign project, a very important project to us. What we would like to do is look for a different procurement method, maybe a design build. It's a little unique at times, and so there's some different procurement methods. Let's take the manhole raising project. What we've done as staff is those manholes frustrate us, with some of those, rough ride over the top. We've actually patched those, just like a pothole. So I know I drove Stone Ridge today, and all those particular manholes that are frustrating, we've actually put a temporary patch in just to put it off for 60 days and see if this market changes in the next 60 days. So that's what we're looking out for is, what's going on in Crystal Ball. Let's talk some of the projects ready for bid. We've talked with council in the past, the Starlight Sidewalk. That particular project is 100% designed. We're just getting a few more easements. We're talking to the utility company to start getting them to relocate. What we'd like to do is give it about 30 days and actually send that particular project out because it has 3 different funding sources. One is community development block grant funds. Those are actually expire in June, so we got to get the project going. We could delay it a little bit if that would be council's direction. But we also have flood control dollars that, has got to be spent this budget year, in addition to some HERF funding. So it would be our recommendation, as you can see with each one of these projects, a little different method. Keep us pushing forward to delivering projects, but, hopefully being mindful that I think a lot of the industry experts out there would say, this is going to change here soon. And I'd like to think still we're early in the budget year. We could put things off maybe 60 days with a couple recommendations and actually realize much better bids and actually get contractors. The frustrating thing is contractors are so busy when you're a low bid contractor and they're out there working in the private sector, maybe working for incentives, I don't know, but we're not getting the bids in, and it's just regular stuff we do all the time. It's been a very different market than what we've experienced here. Last one is Viewpoint Drive. Similarly, we knew that particular pavement is not sufficient enough to carry that traffic. We really wanted to push that project out, and we would really like to, just wait about 60 days, but we really would like to do this project. So that's some of staff's recommendations. I know town manager and I have talked at length. What do we think is best? What are the experts telling us? I'm really thinking that 60 days with moving forward with some projects, we're going to be in a lot better condition to have not only contractors available, but a much more favorable construction costs that they're 70 to 100% than what we saw a year ago. It's still the same concrete and asphalt. Those are the challenges we have. I'd be happy to answer any questions that we might have.
Council, we have questions for Mr. Davis? Not, we'll move on to item 10J. Prescott Valley Monument Sign CIP number E482, consideration and possible action for an award or reject bid.
Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, this one's hopefully the segue into this particular item with the monument signs. I think this particular slide I have here lays it out well, what we have budgeted and what the monument signs came in at with only one bidder. And of course, I've already discussed that we're looking for a different procurement method to do a request for proposals for a design build, and staff continues to explore that. What we'll probably explore also as part of the process is actually there are experts that can give you a closer bid, companies out there that are experts in looking at the current construction cost market. So if we do send this out again for procurement, we can bring to you what the engineer thought it was, but have these specialty people say, yes, if this is the real price, we can make a good estimate of what recommendation for a project award. But it would be staff's recommendation at this particular time to reject the bids that we received on July 11th.
Council, have anything for Mr. Davis? I'll take a motion at this time to reject all bids, if someone can make that motion. Vice Mayor?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to reject all bids for the Prescott Valley Monument Sign Project, CIP number E482, by electronic vote.
Can I have a second, please? I have a second. Clerk, please call the vote.
That passes, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving on to item 10K, Prescott Valley Manhole Rehabilitation Project, CIP number CR 2204. Again, this is exactly what Mr. Davis has covered for us. At this point, I'm looking for a motion to reject the bid. Vice Mayor?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to reject the bid for the Prescott Valley Manhole Rehabilitation Project by electronic vote.
Clerk, can I have a second, please? Or council, can I have a second, please? Clerk, please call the vote.
That passes, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving on to item 10.
Thank you, Mayor, Council.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. AZ Mutual Aid Compact, consideration and possible action. Chief, welcome, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. Bob Tyser, Chief of Police. This is the Arizona Mutual Aid Compact, which is a voluntary agreement between the town and DEMA, the Department of Emergency Military Affairs. This is a primary purpose of sharing resources and personnel during emergencies and to be reimbursed for those resources. The compact spells out the process, makes it easy to follow. And this was brought to our attention from the Yabaline County Emergency Manager. We recommend moving forward with this compact.
It's pretty much a no-brainer. Council, can I get a vote, please, or a motion, please? Councilman Dickinson.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the proposed mutual aid compact with the state of Arizona through the Arizona Department of Emergency and Military Affairs by electronic vote.
I have a second from the Vice Mayor. Clerk, please call the vote.
That passes, Mayor.
Next item, item 10M, Development Impact Fee Adoption Schedule and Draft Land Use Assumption and Infrastructure Improvement Plans. Mr. Judy, welcome, sir. And first off, I'd like to say happy birthday. Today's a special day for you.
Actually, not my birthday.
I thought you said yesterday. Today
My
was your
birthday was several decades ago. Today is the anniversary of my birthday. But thank you for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is a dad joke right there, if I have heard one.
A few more gray hairs this year. Mayor and Council, as you're aware, the town assesses what's known as development impact fees. These are fees assessed at the time of permit for residential, commercial construction. The intent is to offset the cost of new infrastructure required to serve that new development. The town last updated our fees in 2014. Since that time, we've done 2 minor amendments adjusting the list of projects that were in our impact fee study. We've accomplished many of those projects since then. See, these are some of the bigger projects that we've completed since 2014, including the police department expansion, the Glassford Hill Long Lake intersection widening, and Bob Edwards Park was funded by impact fees from our latest study. There are some key terms and acronyms that we can get lost in. These are 3 of the main documents we'll be discussing over the coming 9 months. That's how long it takes to adopt new fees. One is the land use assumptions, the LUA. Another is the infrastructure improvements plan, or the IIP. And the last is the actual development impact fee report. These are highly regulated by the state, set in statute as to what we are required to go through to implement new fees or adjust our fees. So the first step is posting the LUA and the IIP, which is combined into one document in your packet. I'll be posting that to the website tomorrow. Following that, we are required to wait 60 days, and then we will have a public hearing on October 13th, And then, depending on any comments that we receive from the public or the council, we would adopt those 2 documents on December 8th. Following that, we are required to have another public hearing on the actual impact fee report. That would be scheduled on January 12th. And again, based on any comments we receive, you would adopt that report on February 23rd. And then it's 90 days before those fees can become, 75 days before those fees can become effective, which will be targeted for Monday, May 15th. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Do we have any questions for staff? And I need to make a correction. I advise consideration on possible action on this item. And in fact, this is just for information only.
Yes, there's no action required tonight.
I have a question. How often are these fees adjusted?
You're required to do them at least once every 10 years. You can do them as often as you like. Typically, it's 5 years unless you're adopting the same plan or I should say renewing the plan. We did that a few years ago to our 2014 plan. But again, every 10 years you are required to do a renewal. The statute requires us to hire an outside consultant to do it. We can't do it internally, so the town hired Raftellus Consulting to do that for us, to prepare the plan that's in your packet.
Thank you.
Council, any additional questions for Mr. Judy? Sir, thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 11, and I should make a note that item N as in Nancy was a repeat, so we will not be
Yeah, I saw that.
going over that one. Item 11, can I get a motion to adjourn, please? Vice Mayor.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Councilman Packard with the second. Clerk, please call the vote.
Vice Mayor Hunt?
Oh, yes, sorry.
That passes, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks, everyone, for coming out.